Right, what we got here, Derek?
Yeah, well, it's a little Royal Enfield. We always knew them as a ladies' lightweight. I'm sure that wasn't the official name of them, or you know, they weren't recognised better than that officially, I'm sure. But the basis of it is they are a ladies' lightweight. There isn't any real arguing about that. And for a simple reason, you've got all these side fairings and what have you, to stop anything getting in ladies' skirts and whatever it may be, getting caught in the wheel of the chain, and that's fairly obvious when you look at it. You know, it's low slung, it's enclosed, it's a lightweight, it's a ladies' machine really. It was built for ladies. Whether they bought many of them, I wouldn't like to say, but I've had one for years that's now, funny enough, going to be sold as well, which is a nice little machine. They go quite well. Excuse me. They actually do go quite well. They're, I think they're only about a 122 or a 150cc. They're not very big. But the interesting thing about them is that the frames are pressed steel, as you can see with the forks here, which is quite unusual really. There aren't too many bikes like that. Coventry Eagle, most lightweights, or a lot of lightweights were built with pressed steel frames. Excuse me. Pressed steel didn't suit the heavyweights, but it was fine on the lightweights. But of course, when they got a bit warm, all this bushing and what have you became floppy, and you know, you're going down the road and damn thing will be shaking like this in both ways and that. So it wasn't very successful. It was obviously done for cheapness, and it worked, but only on lightweights. But there it is. It's a little two-stroke. This will be a measure, I would imagine, in here, no doubt. Let's have a look. Yep, there you go. Yeah, filled it up with oil to a gallon of fuel. That's basically what it boils down to. I would imagine it'd be marked on there, but that's generally what it is. So up to there with two-stroke oil or engine oil, and mixed to a gallon of fuel. Pre-mix it's best really. It's best not to put the fuel in first and then tip that in, or the other way around. It's best to mix it outside the tank in a can and put it in already mixed. You get a better mixture that way. Lovely period seat, and again, as you can probably see, rather large, which again...
Careful what you say, yeah?
I know, yeah. Ensures comfort. A large seat ensures comfort for a large lady. That's what it boils down to. That's the nicest way of putting it, isn't it? Little rack on the back.
Or a large man.
Or a large man, possibly, yeah. But I don't think you find many large men would be seen dead on this. So I think that was really for a large lady, let's say, or a small lady, of course. And then, of course, the rack on the back for going to Tesco's. Now, not a lot of people realise that the Tesco's were on the go in them days, of course, and there was none of this Tesco delivery now, so you had to go and get it yourself. So there's your rack. You took your box or your bag with you, whatever in mind, and you strapped it on or tied it onto your rack on the way home. All of the number plate, they've spaced it out quite interestingly on the front, because it's lost its number plate at some stage. It's lost its original plate. But to make it look period, this is what they've done, which is I've never seen it done before actually, but it's quite clever. So it would have been 2 letters, 4 numbers. So what they've done, they quite cleverly put NS, as you can see, gap, and 4 numbers, but of course one of the numbers is a J. So it's quite clever really. It's matte black, and of course it wouldn't have been. It would have been Black Japan, that they called it in them days. That's what it would have been, which would have been a shiny black. Got some new spokes in there, so it's obviously the wheels have been rebuilt by the looks of things. And they tell me it runs. We did try and get a running at one stage and it wouldn't kick off, but I'm sure it would do. It's got some compression there, which is the most important thing. And hand gear change, lovely hand gear change. Obviously hand clutch as usual, there it is. See it moving down there, the gearbox. But hand change, and people say, if they're not used to bikes, the common comment is, here, hand change, you've got to take your hand off the steering wheel, and rather than use your foot to change the gear. Well, that's fine, but when you get these old gearboxes that have got no synchromesh whatsoever, and you need to feel them in nice and gently, then a hand change is so much nicer to actually operate, because your hand will select the gear so much easier and slowly and more accurately than your foot. So I find that a gearbox without synchromesh in the old days. It really, hand change suits it perfectly. You can actually feel the gears in rather than your foot. You know, you've got far less, I can't think of the right word, control over your foot than you have your hand, if you like. And leg guards. They are the most crude leg guards you can ever imagine, can't you? Again, press look with a swage line down there, strengthen it up. But it suits the bike. You know, the whole bike is pretty crude pressings, and the leg guards are no different. So they look original. They look as though they've grown there. I'm sure they would be period. If someone had made them up, I'm not too sure they'd have put this swage line in, just a cheap sort of leg guard add-on. But so I think they're right. Can't say too much else about it. Girder fault, as you can see, it's got electric light set on it. Whether that'll ever work again, I don't know. But just in case, it's got a bracket there for a battery-powered lamp, like a bike lamp. I think this you'd have had on your push bike, wouldn't you? So worst comes to the worst, and it all packs up, and if it don't work, and I think at least you can put a lamp on there, battery-powered, switch on the top, no doubt, and such. So there you go.
And it's just bangers and cash restoration again.
And another bangers and cash bike. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. We must mention that, mustn't we? Yeah, bought at an auction maybe before Christmas anyway, and then sent out to be recommissioned and put into sort of running order. As I say, we haven't started it, so I can't speak for that. But they tell me that it has been run. And it'll now be going into the February sale to hopefully find a new owner in better condition and more usable than it was when it was purchased. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. You know, one or two little bits of improvement. One, there's a kill switch on there. I think you'll find that it has been put on, which, yeah. Well, anyway, it's there, isn't it? You know, they didn't have a kill switch. But you just dropped it in gear and just dropped the clutch. But one or two little things can be altered slightly. You know, the pull ties are there, bits and pieces. Be interesting to see if the lights do work. Might do. That's about it.
I think everything's working as far as we know.
Good. Good.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I've ridden my one just round the forecourt, and they feel quite nice. They're really comfortable, but all down to this, isn't it? Lovely. Interesting little machine. I think it'll probably fetch somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 quid, possibly just a tiny bit more. On the right day, it could do 32, but I don't think it'll do any more somehow. Got the feeling that it won't. But you never know. It's a funny old job, and you never know who's watching, who fancies it, and why. The lights have had some work on recently, so I would imagine they probably have been got going put it that way, but we'll see.
Come down and have a look.
Come down and have a look. It's here now, awaiting your inspection, and I don't think you'll be too disappointed because it is exactly what you see. One of them jobs that what you see is what you get. Lovely old tax test there, 1953. Cracking. Look at that old tax test on here. 1953. Someone said it might only be about 17 shillings to tax it or something, or 12 bob or something. It'd be no money. Very, very cheap. 1953. Cheap form of transport, but when you think of it, you know, the reason they were so popular in these days, I mean, this is what, 1930, I would imagine, something like that, is it? I think it probably is. I can't remember now. 32, yeah, there you go, 1932. This opened up the countryside to young ladies, if you like, or for anybody, but as I say, it's a young lady's bike, I can assure you that this is what it was marketed as and produced for. But it's pretty obvious when you look at it, isn't it? And when you think it opened up the whole countryside, it meant instead of cycling maybe 15 or 20 miles that day, they could get on something like this and they could do 50, 60 miles that day. So they could take them from Leeds to the coast and back again the same day. In 1932, that was something amazing, it really was. Because I mean, obviously lots of cars on the road in 1932, but lots of horse-drawn stuff still in 1932. And the main method of transport for younger people in 1932 was push bike. or Sharabang. Well, a Sharabang would do Leeds and Scarborough in a day, but this would do it pretty comfortably with a cruising speed of probably 35, something like that. So Leeds to Scarborough, you're probably talking non-stop, hour and a half, something like that. Pretty good going, isn't it? You know, a day in Scarborough, back to Leeds, another hour and a half. You imagine the freedom that that gave to the younger generation of that day. It's absolutely amazing.
Life-changing.
Life-changing, yeah. It's awesome when you think of it, really. You know, I can just imagine someone in 1932 saying, you know, a youngster, 18-year-old for argument's sake, saying to their mum and dad, I'm going to Scarborough for the day. And the mum and dad, you can't go to Scarborough for the day. It's a Sharabang overnight job or something, you know. Marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Good luck to whoever buys it. You're all right, mate.